Okay, so I have that book. So say the name of the book again.
The Untethered Soul. And I listened to it I can't believe that I spent 6 hours, but I said, I'm determined to finish this book. It was one of the books that Oprah had him as a guest. I can't remember his name. I have to look it up to see what his name is. But it's called The Untethered Soul. And I feel like I know the secret to life.
Okay.
After reading this book, Allie.
Before, good job. Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh,
Yes.
anyway, okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, Allie.
It's a little private joke, inside joke. So that book is sitting on my bookshelf. I've never read it. I've had it.
Oh my
I must have
goodness.
read the summary and thought, oh, I need it. So this week, and then I'm gonna let you talk about yours, but I just want to say, because I want to see if this ends up being true. I feel like I also have gotten down to the root of the secret of life. Now, it doesn't mean there's tons of stuff to just on the beginning of the self-mastery journey, but
yeah,
it's the same thing over and over and over again. I'm like, this is it. I think this is the root, the secret to life. So, and I have not read this Untethered Soul, so be curious to see.
Isn't that interesting how you and I haven't spoken to you and I haven't even spoken to you, but we seem to be in sync with things.
Yeah.
Is that the wildest thing? That you're like, I'm saying to you, I think I found the secret to life. And you're saying to me, you think you found the secret to life. It's so fascinating how in sync we are.
I know. And it's always been that way. I mean,
yes, it has, hasn't it?
Yeah, always. It's funny. But I think that's, when you're on this journey that we've been on, I think that just kind of happens. It's natural, like that God does that or the universe does that, whatever. So,
yeah.
Okay. So I'm excited. Let me hear what have you, I'm going to
move
my camera a little bit. Okay.
So the book, okay. So his name is Michael Singer. Michael Singer is the author. Okay. And so his premise in the book is about, those thoughts that we have in our head that are constantly rolling on in our head. So those thoughts are not us. And I know you know that those thoughts that roll in our head are not us. Not even what we're thinking is us. So what's us is the person that recognizes that there are thoughts going on in our head. So we are looking at those thoughts. That's who we are. All right. So we're in the background and we are the observers of these thoughts that keep rolling into our heads.
Okay.
Which is interesting. So what he says is those thoughts, let them roll. They're always going to be there. They're not going anywhere. They're going to be coming every day. Just let them roll and don't even pay attention to them.
Yeah.
Because they're not you.
Right.
They're just thoughts rolling through. And when we attach to the thoughts that are rolling through, that's where suffering comes in.
Yes. Yeah.
So you go through your day and you just, thought comes up, let it pass through. Thought comes up, let it pass through. Just go through your day.
Yeah.
It's so liberating.
It is.
When you don't, when you're walking through life without attaching yourself to your thoughts.
And realizing they're not you.
And realizing they're not you.
Yeah.
And so how do you have the life or create a life that you want if these thoughts are just coming through and you can't think about anything, Thinking, the universe doesn't work through thinking. The universe works through vibration. The universe works through how you're feeling. So if you're walking through life and every thought is just going through, you are just being you, and this vibrational being, you're just being your vibrational self. And I believe that the universe works through imagery or what you embody as yourself. So thoughts are not you, you're not attaching to it. So you're feeling fabulous. You're feeling high because you're not letting anything affect you.
Hmm.
So at this point, you are this high being. And when you're a high being, everything that you envision, I would imagine,
Hmm.
comes to you.
Because we are creators. We're actually, that's true already. Everything that we envision comes to us, good, bad,
So
and ugly.
it's the imagination, and it
Yeah.
is the person that you're being, this higher being, because you're not letting anything affect you.
Yeah.
Someone says something to you, so his suggestion, someone says something to you that triggers you, let it go.
Hmm.
You don't even have to address it. You don't even have to analyze it
Yeah.
because you know where it came from. It came from your childhood. Somebody screwed you up
Yeah.
back
Or
then.
or
You
that.
already know.
Yeah. Or that person, because if you're talking about their comment, because their comments, their beliefs about us have nothing to do with us. It's true for all
Exactly.
of us. Our beliefs about anyone else have nothing to do with them. It's coming through our own filters. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is the secret to life. Let the thoughts roll, go through your life and witness what's coming in to your life.
Hmm.
Just let life roll through you.
Yeah. Go with the flow down that
Go with the
river.
flow.
Just
Go with the flow
flow
of
in
life.
that
That
current down that
that is, you go with
river
the
of
flow.
energy. Yeah.
Don't attach to anything. Oh, I see that. Don't even think about it. And I think that we saw a TikTok um, a few weeks ago where the woman was saying, if it doesn't matter, her whole thing was like, it doesn't matter. Someone
Hmm.
says something, it doesn't matter. You know,
Yeah.
that happened, it doesn't matter.
No,
Doesn't matter.
it
It's
definitely
kind of like that.
takes like practice though to
Oh
get to that
gosh.
point. So what you're saying is that is the somebody who has already achieved that self-mastery level. So for most of us, we're going to it's a nice thing to say, but if we
Mhm.
don't practice that
Mm,
consistently, repeatedly, frequently, those comments are going to sting. It's not going to be a truth for us, so we have to practice it and we get better at it each time. I think each time we remember that when we hear that comment that stings us or whatever, just go back to that and remember that truth. And then each time that we get those comments are actually opportunities for us to practice that skill. Maybe that's how we should
practice
look at
letting
it.
go.
Hmm.
Practice letting go.
Yeah.
Because who is it stinging?
Right.
It's stinging your personality. That
Yeah.
persona that you that persona that you show to the world. Who is it
Hmm.
stinging? It's not really stinging the real you.
Yeah.
It's stinging your personality.
Yeah. This is true.
So yes, it takes constant. It's like you have to be vigilant with it. But I
Hmm.
think that as you do it, it becomes a habit and it becomes
Hmm.
something that you don't even have to work at.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
agree.
think after a while, it
Hmm.
becomes this thing where you don't even have to think about it anymore. Like,
Yeah, you're right. It just
yeah,
is
it's
how,
just
yeah, automatic,
just
like
letting
whatever.
everything flow through. Everything
Yeah.
is just flowing through, and you're just letting the thoughts go and letting life flow in.
Yeah. And we get to
Yeah.
choose. It's our choice as to the speed of how that happens.
Mm,
So the more frequent we practice that skill, the more
mhm,
we repeat it, the more consistent we are with it, the
mhm,
faster the process goes. But we get to choose. It's like a volume, a knob, a volume knob. We get to
mhm.
choose that
A-
speed.
And I know we gave ourselves a challenge last week to say, you know, isn't it wonderful?
Hmm.
Isn't it wonderful how my life is
Or
going
why,
so
putting it in a question. Why am I so
why is it
happy?
why
Yeah.
am I so happy?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? And it's not, I don't know that it's necessarily the words, but I think it's the vibe that those words
Yeah.
put you in
Yeah.
that brings stuff to you. So it's
Hmm.
all about vibration and how you're feeling. So it's not necessarily the words that universe, God is listening to. It's how you're feeling
It is how we're
that it's
feeling, but our
Mhm.
thinking is what drives the feeling. What comes
Mm,
first is the thought. And then the thought is what drives the feeling.
The thought drives the
Yeah.
feeling. Exactly.
And then the feeling drives the action. So yeah. So we do have to like address those thoughts. I mean, we have to be mindful of them, be aware of them, like you said, and then if they
Let them
make,
go.
let them go.
Let them go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think, yeah,
yes,
that's great. I think,
that's the secret
okay.
to life.
So all right. So my path is very similar, it like beautifully complements what you just said. So
Oh,
I feel like, and I was getting chills as you were speaking, some of it, because I'm like, oh my God, this really is a truth. This is a life truth. I know it, like I feel it in my being.
right.
And so, are you kidding me? Did I just like totally have a blank? How funny. I just like totally went blank. That means it's important. So let's, I know. Yeah. Okay. Secret to life is, oh, so the person so the person, we are the person behind the thoughts. And here's why. This is why this is. And I just like, was still working on my online course, and it's so much
Yeah.
bigger than the workbook that I put on Etsy, and I'm really excited about it. And
Right.
as I was researching, and I already knew this, but I'm trying to put in a lot more science into the online course,
Okay.
just to prove what I'm saying is true, to kind of back me up. So, or to show I'm aligning with the science, because I didn't come up with the science. But all right, from the womb until about the age of 7. And I find this so fascinating that the Jesuits are the ones, like 400 years ago, before science even knew this, called 7 the age of reason, when we become responsible for our behaviors and actions. And before then, we're not.
Yeah.
Because from womb time up until about the age of 7, we are in the theta brainwave state, which is like being in hypnosis.
Right.
And this is why that period, why we can learn languages so quickly. And it's like a super learning phase. And I think God, it's like, hey, we got to cram a lot of this stuff in here in the first 7 years so you can get going with life,
Right.
So we're very suggestible and susceptible. And so knowing that, every single thing, belief, feeling, emotion that we have about ourselves and about the world is someone else's. It was programmed into us until the age of 7. And then after that, we move on and, we become more conscious beings. But the thing is that, but then after the age of 7, that program's already running. It's solidified in our subconscious mind. And so now we're just seeking out information to confirm those false, if they were false beliefs.
Right.
That's the person thinking the thoughts. It's someone who has been programmed. Every single thing that they believe and think and feel has been programmed by someone or something else in the first 7 years of life. The person behind the thoughts, observing the thoughts, that's us. That's the authentic us.
Right.
And so if we're not like, we becoming more and more that authentic self and relying on that person's thoughts and feel, we've got to like meet that person and get to know that person and who she is. And that's the authentic person. And you're right to let go.
That ties in with letting the thoughts go.
Yeah.
Letting go of what is not you.
Of what is not you, which is basically everything. And so, and rebuilding, this is rebuilding. And we get to choose. We get to choose who we want to be.
Who we want to be. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yep.
So part of what you're saying about the letting go of the thoughts too is, I think I talked about this last week. I had read or listened to a book like you, the Kabbalion.
Yes.
And it's not that I necessarily recommend it, but I just, I'd heard a lot about it. And I think that's where a lot of the law of attraction stuff has come from. It was written in the early 1900s, I think.
Wow.
And so based on ancient Egyptian wisdom or whatever, supposedly. I don't know. I haven't verified all of this, but this is what they say about the book. But one of the laws, the law of polarity, which I talked about last week and about, is, and what they say, this is what somebody who truly has mastered themselves, their mind does, is you have, so the law of polarity is like a spectrum. And it's, if you think of like temperature, we have hot and cold. So hot and cold are really they're the same thing. They're just on this spectrum. And we get to choose We get to choose. I think choice is the most powerful
Oh,
verb
wow.
there is. We get to choose. We get to choose, as long as we don't give that power to someone else.
Right.
We get to choose where on the spectrum of any idea or thing, that we're talking about. We get to choose love and hate. Where on the spectrum do I want to be? Do I
Right.
love people? Do I hate people? Am I somewhere in the middle? Whatever. We get to
Yeah.
make, we are the ones that are in control of moving that slider.
Oh my
In
gosh.
addition to that, there's
I
a
love that.
principle of rhythm. And here's where it comes into what you were saying. So
Mhm.
rhythm is kind of like a pendulum, and it just
Uh-huh.
is, like nature has 4 seasons. There just is a rhythm to everything. And we
Yeah.
we can't change that. There are laws that we can't change. But
Okay.
what we can do, like that pendulum goes one way. And if we don't want to come back to the other side, we rise above it and we observe down below. So that's the thoughts. That's someone who's truly mastered themselves. That's what you're talking about. Is like you acknowledge.
Yes.
Yeah. So in my mind, I like to think of my thoughts like looking down, like way,
Okay.
way up in the sky, maybe looking down at clouds and seeing them pass by. But I'm not going to interact with those storm clouds or anything. I'm just like, oh, well,
Right.
there's a stormy cloud.
The same
But let me
thing.
write.
Yes.
So we also get to choose whether we're being kicked back and forth on that pendulum. We can't stop that movement because it's a
Right.
law of rhythm, but we can rise above it.
Kind of like our minds. It's
Yes.
the same thing. We
Yeah.
can't stop the thoughts from coming. We can't stop all that stuff from coming. We just rise above it or
Yeah.
just observe it and just let it flow out.
Yeah.
Man, we're good.
I know. But that's what, so that's why I was like getting chills when you said that. Cause I'm like, oh my God, it's just another way of saying what
Mhm.
it ties so well into that. And, yeah. And so same thing. Again, like you, I feel the same way. I'm like, okay, I think I have finally come to it,
I
to
think
the
that
core.
intellectually we have it. We have all the information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Intellectually we have it. It's putting it into practice and just knowing that our thoughts are not us is very liberating.
Yeah. Maybe that's just the first step, is to recognize that these thoughts were programmed into me
Right.
by things and people outside of me.
Right.
And, they may or may not be true. I don't know, but they are not mine. They're programmed in. So I want
Right.
to reprogram. I want to create the real, I want to get to that person behind the thoughts.
Right.
And
And
yeah.
so someone who's walking around, we have a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, we're walking around as 7-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, they don't know that, right?
Yeah.
But why did we decide that we didn't want to walk around as 7-year-olds, where most people walk around as 7-year-olds?
Yeah. With their programming.
Mhm. So why did we decide,
Okay.
what? Okay.
Well, for me, I don't know
Uh-huh.
how it came for you, but for me, I think and I mean, I think it's a journey. So we learn little pieces, as we go along for years and
What I'm
years.
saying is not
Oh,
everybody examines their life the way we are. People are just going through
oh,
life,
okay. I got
and
you.
not everybody examines, uh, you know, not everyone examines
Yeah.
themselves and their lives.
I think one, but then I actually really do have a real answer to this that I just
Mhm.
discovered this morning.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
cause I was asking the same question. I'm like, okay, if it's this easy or this simple, I'll say if it's really
It's simple.
this simple
Mhm.
about choice
Yes.
and so the other part of what I've learned is that it is truly all for change, for the change part. It
Mhm.
is all about perspective.
Yeah.
It's just, how can I change my perspective about A to B?
Mhm.
And we choose, every single one of us, no matter the situation, every single one of us has the ability to choose our perspective. And once you choose that perspective, and then go back to, like, instead of asking what's wrong with me, shift that
Right.
perspective and say,
Yeah.
what's right with me? Or
Right.
why is my life so happy? That's what
Right.
those things do. They're perspective shifters. And
Yeah.
that's all it is. That's all it takes, is to begin, is to shift that perspective. And we have that choice.
And what
Nobody
you're
can take that
what you're
choice away.
doing is shifting your conduit. You're shifting the conduit, the part that brings stuff into you, because it's
Mhm.
not going to come to you. The good, well, everything comes to you all the time,
So what,
but
how do we want it to come? In which perspective?
exactly, in which
Yeah.
perspective and which way do we want it
And
to come?
we get to choose.
And we get to
But
choose.
I think so. One reason why don't more people do that is, one, I think that we have been programmed to
Hmm.
believe that that's not possible, that we don't have
Control
control
or choice.
and that choice. We don't
Yeah,
have that power.
right.
And if there are entities like governments or whoever, and they want to control their population and their people and make them, manipulate, and advertisers and corporations, and we need to
Yes.
manipulate them into doing what we want them to do, then
Yeah.
of course we're going to raise those generations to
Yeah.
believe that they're not that
Yeah.
powerful. I mean,
Right.
I really do believe that's the purpose. And
Suppression,
suppression, always. I mean, from the
control.
beginning of time, I'm like, what is the deal? Why? Because we are so
Wait a minute.
powerful.
I just had an epiphany.
Uh-huh.
So that 7-year-old, sorry about that. That 7-year-old that you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about, it was
Mm-hmm.
all about control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because parents
That
want to control
parents,
their child, right? Into good
yes, it
behavior or
was
whatever.
all about control and molding and shaping you
Yeah.
into what was passed down to them,
Right. They
and
don't.
how
Yeah.
that's where the whole generational thing comes in, the whole
Mm-hmm.
thinking, generational thinking and generational
Yeah.
habits. That's how it happens. That
Yeah.
is so interesting. But it is about control and shaping.
Yeah.
And they only did what was done to them,
Yes. Yeah.
or what they learned.
Yeah.
And it's passed down from generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
This is so fascinating.
I love the mind. I love to know that
Uh-huh.
we are so powerful. I mean, I think about like corporations who spend billions of dollars every year globally to
Yes.
get to our minds to
Yep.
convince us to buy their program, I mean, or their
Right.
service or whatever it is, right? And
Hmm.
when I was an undergrad in psychology, I had taken a class, marketing and psychology or something like that, and it was
Right.
really, I mean, that probably is one of the most highest paying jobs for psychologists, to get on with a company and do all of the psychological, help them design the marketing. I mean, they're the colors that they use and the
You're
music,
right.
that it's all very specific and very well
Yeah.
researched to
Right.
manipulate us and our
Mm,
minds, usually at the subconscious level, to purchase their product. I mean, you
exactly.
think of like, car companies and just the ads that they're trying to make you buy into luxury, or like, this car will
Yeah.
make your life so happy, and they all do it.
Right.
But that should tell us, if companies are willing to spend billions of dollars every year,
Yeah.
that's how to get this.
Yeah.
This is our treasure.
Yeah.
This is a treasure, and we should be protecting it
Mm,
like it is, like we've won the $300 million lottery or something, or like diamonds or whatever the most precious thing is. But this is the most precious thing that we have. And it is
absolutely.
so powerful, and nobody can control it unless we allow it.
Right.
Um, it's just, yeah,
In the book, he also talked about happiness, and happiness is a decision,
a choice.
a choice. Yeah. Yes. Happiness is a choice.
Yeah.
If someone's coming at you, you can choose to engage or not engage. Which one is going to keep me at happy?
Yeah. Perspective. You're just described choosing perspective.
Yes.
That's exactly what you did.
Yeah.
And going back to your
Mm.
question, so for me, when I'm like, all right, I've had this slow simmer of realization this week about just kind of this, like what you're
Uh-huh.
talking about.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, it truly is that simple. It is
It's
so
very simple.
simple.
It is so simple.
But if it's so simple, and why isn't it easy? And then, like
Right.
you said, why don't more people put that into practice? And I'm
Yeah.
including myself into that. If I'm aware of it, why am I not harnessing this?
Mhm.
And so that was kind of like my question. So this morning I was
Uh-huh.
listening to just a chapter on YouTube. They had just recorded like this chapter from this book.
Yeah.
And I won't say what it is yet, because
Uh-huh.
I don't know about author.
Okay.
I mean, I know he's like a new thought person, kind of with Neville Goddard, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think his name is US Anderson or something like that. But
Okay.
I don't know if what his beliefs are. So I can't say, yay or nay, I agree with it or I don't, or I recommend it. Cause I never want to like,
Yeah.
you never know. I don't know. I don't know enough. So, cause I
Yeah.
just listened to it. But in this, like, so in this chapter, the chapter is called, the hidden cause of all things.
Ooh.
And I was like, ooh, interesting.
Ooh.
And so I know, right?
Got
And
my attention.
I know it's like an hour and a half and I only listened to like 30 minutes, 20 or 30 minutes. So
Okay.
have a lot left to listen to, but he answered the question. So he was talking about, I'm trying to look at I brought my notes in here because I thought I wanted to, where are you? Oh, I was on the wrong side. Okay. So he kind of like what we were saying. So why don't more people practice this? If this power, he calls it the lock, LOCK, the lock. And I'm like, oh, and he says it's because all of our past beliefs and experiences, like limiting beliefs and all, of course, remember now, this is the program. Try not to curse, try not to curse. Okay. It's it's the programming that's getting in the way. That's why more of us don't do it. And he says it. So all of that prevents us from creating the life we want and from becoming our authentic selves.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but he calls it the lock, and it's like a lock. So we have to get past that.
Unlocked.
Yeah, unlock the key.
The key. Oh, the keys.
Or keys. Yeah, there probably is more than one. The keys.
Set of keys.
Yeah.
Maybe there's one giant key.
Yeah, really.
An antique key.
Yes. What is skeleton key that unlocks all the things? That's what we need. We need the universe's skeleton key to unlock everything. But yeah, so I think that's why more people don't do it. It's because we've been programmed, and the program after 7 is continually running subconsciously, and then we're getting it from social media and TV and governments and all of that. It's just the program is continuing on. It just continues to run the one that was instilled in us from 0 to 7. But we are so powerful. We can. No, why? Do you see that on the screen?
Time remaining.
Thing?
Nah, yep, time remaining.
Yeah, that's weird. Why is that? We never have had that. Huh.
Well, don't they have nerve?
Well, we can just start another one if we need to. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe it'll be the next episode. We'll do that. So if we get cut off, but we still have more to say, we'll just come back and
absolutely
it'll be
part 2.
We'll get two episodes in one day. Love
part
it.
2.
That so is what do you think?
So I'm floored by. I'm just floored by how miraculous. Here we are. We're on this rock floating in space. That in itself.
Yeah. And what's holding us all up, the solar system and all that. What is it? What's out there? Yeah. There's no gravity in space. What's holding us up?
And to know that you were programmed.
We all are.
We all are programmed from birth to, 7.
Mm-hmm.
How to think, what to think. We soaked in a lot of information during that time, like you said. Mm-hmm. We soaked it all in and, decided from there how things were supposed to go from there. And that's how we've been living, our whole lives.
Yeah.
But to realize that if your life isn't looking the way you want it to look, or it's not feeling the way you want it to feel, you have a choice to dispel with the programming, to dispel with what other people said was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You can just throw that away and create something new for yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
amazing.
I think that's where we're at. I really do. I think that's what we're doing is we are creating something new for ourselves. I get frustrated with myself because again, we have the choice about speed of how quickly that happens or not. And I, for some reason, love
Do
to
we
do it.
have the choice about speed?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Really?
I could have worked my full program 100%
Mhm.
and rewritten and built this new self-image, right? The new gotten to
Uh-huh.
the not it's really getting to the authentic self and but creating that character sketch and then blah blah blah, all the steps and the visualization and all of
Yeah.
that.
Uh-huh.
I could have done that months ago. Why haven't I done it? I'm like more creating more than I am. I mean, I am doing it, but it's so slow, but I could have been well months into it by now. And I have chosen for some reason not to. Probably because of the programming of limiting beliefs in there, they think, what if this doesn't work or whatever, but I know it'll work. I know it works. Because really what I'm saying is not anything. I don't think it's new in the sense that it's my take on it.
Mhm.
And but it's already out there and proven, for hundreds,
I think
thousands
a
of years.
lot of us are afraid of our greatness.
Yeah. Yes.
I think a lot of us,
Yes.
are afraid of, I think a lot of us know that we're powerful.
Yes. Yes. Are we programmed to be scared of that power? Are we told that
Is that where
we can't
religion comes
handle
in?
it?
Is that where religion comes in?
Girl, oh my
Girl,
God. Oh
listen.
my God. Oh my God. I mean,
Are we
oh my
like,
God.
I think that we're, for the most part, we have these feelings about who we can be and who we are, and it scares the crap out of
Yeah.
us.
But I
And
think because we've been programmed to be
we've been
afraid of it.
programmed to be afraid of it. Well, but
Not anymore.
just thinking about it puts a little fear in me, how powerful we
I
are.
know it
That is
is.
something, because you got to take a breath on that one. Breathe.
So maybe that's one to address is
Oh my goodness.
don't be afraid of our fear. So if something does give us fear, then
Mhm.
that's all that
That's
is
a good
data.
sign.
It's a good sign. It's
That's
data.
a good
It's a piece of
sign.
really important information.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
So what if we flip that then? Okay, so even just it gives me like the jitters to think about
Mhm.
how powerful I really
Mhm.
am.
Mhm.
So let me do like some kind of affirmation, a why statement to it, or how I
Mhm.
like the whys because, like you said
Why is
earlier, it just
yeah.
brings that vibration, that feeling into it.
Yeah.
So how could I'm looking up a quote because that builds on
Yeah.
what you just said. So
Uh-huh.
while I'm doing that, how can what kind of why affirmation
Oh.
can we do around the not being afraid of our power?
Why did I create such a fabulous life? Why am I so powerful? Why?
Feel so good. Why does my power feel so good to
Feels
me, or something like that? Maybe.
oh, why does my power feel
Oh,
so good to me?
mm.
Wow.
Oh, it's a Marianne. Is it Williamson?
Oh, yes, love
Our
her.
our deepest fear is not that. Oh, wait a minute. I got to get into cut it off. I got.
From A Course in Miracles.
Oh, is that where that's from?
From A Course in
Ah,
Miracles.
okay. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. No, that's not it. Is that it? Our deepest fear is
Yep,
that we are
that's it.
powerful
That's it.
beyond measure. Okay.
Exactly. So let me tell you, that is about how long I have been on this journey since
Okay.
she wrote that book, A Course in Miracles.
Marianne
That's
Williamson
how
wrote that?
long. She did.
Oh, I
So
didn't know
the
that.
book, A
Okay.
Course in Miracles, is a text. It's a textbook, but she read it and interpreted it and wrote a book about the Course in Miracles.
Okay.
And that is how long I have been on this journey, since that book. I read that book, and I don't think I understood it at the time, or maybe I wasn't prepared to receive the information or knew how to put the information to practice, but I
Mm-hmm.
get the book now. And
Okay.
I get every book now. Every book that has ever been written, I get it
Mm-hmm.
now, because it's all saying the same thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
just differently.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
there was that, like, you were reading a book one time and you
Mhm,
told me this quote from it, which I loved.
mhm.
See if you can remember. It's that
Oh,
something about that we're all contributors. to this field, whatever we're talking about. It was such a beautiful quote. I
That's
know,
gone.
it's gone. I know. It was a
It will
long
come
time ago.
back.
It was months
It'll
and
come
months ago,
back.
but it
It'll come
was
back.
about that kind of like, don't feel like if you're trying to write something, write a book, maybe it was, she was saying, don't feel like you don't have anything to say because we're all contributing pieces to this puzzle or
That's
something
right.
like that.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That's right.
In our
I
own
know
way.
exactly what, yeah. We are all
Because some
contributors.
people, will say the same thing and it doesn't really move me. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
then somebody else, just in the way their metaphors or whatever it is, it just hits me. I'm like, oh, so yeah. So how wonderful
Right.
we have like this information out there in such a variety of materials or, messages. It's great.
It
Something for all
is.
of us. Yeah. Okay.
It's
Why
amazing.
does my power feel so good?
Why does my
Why does
power
my
feel
power
so
feel
good?
so good? Or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
We'll think of something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If anybody out there and people
I
are
know.
listening, I see like the views are slowly going up like
Oh,
on the
that's
things and
great.
I love it.
That's
So
great.
I really, really, if anybody out there is listening and wants to contribute, like if you
Yeah.
have an affirmation about
Mhm.
that, please comment or send us a note or something. We'd love to hear it. So
Yeah, we're talking about our power and how we have it. We're just afraid to harness it and
but
use
that's
it.
just a program. We're not really the person behind that thought, behind that fear
Yeah.
is let me make a
You
note
saw
because
that?
we're about to, it says less than 1 minute. They must have
Okay.
changed. Zoom must have changed because we've gone well over 45 minutes and never had this issue.
It's
So,
okay.
oh shoot. So what was I saying? Well, just let it end on its own, guys. So if we just get cut off, that's the end of this episode. Join us for
Yes.
the next episode.
Part 2.
The
This is a good
It
conversation.
is. No way are we gonna. They keep trying to hold us back because we're speaking the truth.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
why.
yes. Oh my
Uh,
gosh. Yeah, you're
person,
probably right about that. They're trying to control us.
yeah. Is the fear okay of power?
It's just as well. We need to get some more coffee. We need to refresh ourselves and get some coffee.
I love my little coffee cup.
Oh, look at
I show it again. I
that.
think I showed it